Do you know SHM Architects switched from static renderings to real-time animated walkthroughs? The result? Faster approvals, fewer revisions, and a stronger client trust through clearer communication. Here's the reality. Animations stop the scroll, communicate design intent instantly, and position you as innovative. Top firms are using AI animations to close deals faster and command premium fees. Today, I'm showing you two simple workflows. 1. Create competition-ready films from conceptual drawing with AI. 2. Create AI-powered animations from any architectural drawing or photo. Hi, my name is Danny Loza. I've been helping architecture firms apply AI and visualization for the last years. Just a quick reminder to like and subscribe, and if you find this helpful, please push the like button. And with that being said, let's jump in. So how do you actually create these animations without spending days in complex software? You can use tools like Kling AI, Midjourney, Sora, and many others. AI video generators take your existing renderings, photos, or even concept sketches and turn them into cinematic animations in minutes. No 3D modeling required, no complex rendering settings, no overnight renderings. Let's jump into the first example.
Okay, so here is how you go from hand sketch rendering to animations. So I got a sketch here from my client. He hand sketched this. He's a really great designer. And what we want to do is just animate it to where the camera just rotates to the front of the building. So for that, you can do it both ways, but you can do it many ways. But the way I recommend doing whenever you're working with specifically generative AI tools that are able to give you the end frame in mind. So what I would recommend, if you don't have the second image, you can try to create first an image of the front perspective in Nano Banana or AIs that can create images. So with Nano Banana Pro, I created the front rendering here, which is the front, let's call it the front perspective, just to give it a sense that, okay, I'm gonna have two frames here and I can control the transition better than if I make the AI generation guess. With that being said, this is Kling AI, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the image to video because that's what we're doing, and we're gonna add a frame here, and then we're gonna add the end frame. So we're gonna start with a perspective on one side, and then the other image, the front, on the other side. With that, the two things to keep in mind is like you can let Kling create your own like a prompt or give you a reference of a good prompt. So if you click here on DeepSeek, it will automatically start analyzing your images and it starts creating a transition for you that you can go through, see how to write one. Also, you can come here and to the inspiration and presets for you to start kind of getting ideas of how the camera actually rotates, and you can actually click on them. So for instance, if I want to click here and say pan right, you can click on them and it automatically generates that, or you can kind of bring that in and start testing the different camera movements, because that's the main thing. So if you say camera pans right to the front side of the building, and you can go ahead and put generate here and it will start generating that. Once you kind of hit generate, it will go to the queue here, and once you figure that you already have the movement right and all that, you can test more time. So then I will go and increase the input to 2 and keep it in 10 seconds and keep generating maybe 1 or 2 more rounds until you feel like you are happy with it. So here is the example that it's giving me. Right, and you can see how it's moving, and now it gives me the front image, and it doesn't do nothing. Like it's actually pretty good. Okay, so to bring everything together here, these are the front elevations that I show you that I created with Nano Banana Pro at the beginning of the exercise. Then I use this reference here to kind of create the front elevation here, rendering too. And then from there is where I start. We're gonna do what's called a construction time lapse. So from there, I really want to start dividing like the stages of construction of this building, for me to then start generating 4 images you want to have at least for it to kind of start giving you that time lapse of construction. So understanding like, hey, I want in stage 1 to be, you know, like wood framing, right? Like take out the trees and the space station of the wood framing. So for instance here, what I would do is I'll give it this prompt saying like, hey, showcase an early construction of this building, early construction. So here I define it. But you can just do something as just bare construction, site dirt, scatter lumber, and construction equipment. I think that will get you what you want, and that's the result you get, right? So you just have to make sure like you're kind of getting it stage by stage, and you want to divide it in about 4 images. So, yeah, so you see how things get. Sometimes you have to refine things, you know, sometimes. So from there, I went to stage 3, right? And erected windows, no finishes, you know. And I'll copy these. You can copy this and just use it as a reference as far as you want to do your construction time lapse. And that was stage 3, and then I had to go to stage 4, which is the last section here. And then, well, stage 4 I already had the last image that I showed you, so that was my 4 images that I was going to show. The only thing I did here is just add people walking, right? So to kind of have a nice scene at the beginning, at the end. And I kind of start adding people working. So that's something that you might want to do at the beginning, is start just adding the people working. So as a note at the beginning, say add people working in construction. So all these images that gives you are with people working. It gives you that sense of construction time lapse in a way. Once you have done that, you can come to Midjourney, and then or you can go to Kling AI. In this case, I want to show you Midjourney because Midjourney works kind of as good as Kling or anything for those. So here I was able to upload my images here. So you just come here and upload from here. You upload your images, and then you can start from the beginning. You can just say, hey, I want to start with this one here, which is the asphalt, and I want to do this one. And then here you can just use very simple prompts. So you just say crew members erecting columns and framing construction tiles. That's really what you need. And then you just click enter, and then that's it. And then you will start getting these time lapses, and you can reuse that same prompt for the first 3 stages. And then once you kind of get to a more like a later stage, then you can kind of start maybe saying like, hey, now you're adding a stucco and clay tiles and things like that. And once you get to that last stage, you can just just have the last image and say, hey, slow movement, and then from there we just generate a very slow movement. And once you have that, you have 4 clips that you would be able to go and put together in a video editor. Okay, so for this particular case, we're gonna go from floor plan to a stylized floor plan. And have you ever thought of a way to make show the floor plans in a more fun way? And this is it. So just think about on the left side I have a floor plan that normally was kind of already stylized a little bit, but it's still black and white. And then on the other side I have already a floor plan that I generated on Nano Banana Pro based on this first floor plan. So ideally you want to transition from black and white to a color rendering. And again, this could be done very easily if you go to a Nano Banana Pro or DALL-E or anything, and you just tell it to kind of give you a watercolor rendering of a specific floor plan, you'll get something like this. So with that, now you have 2 images you can transition. But with that being said, I'm gonna place these images here again in the start frame and the end frame, and I'm gonna give it a very simple, I'm gonna go here to the inspiration and presets, and I'm gonna give it the camera is stationary because I don't want it to change any perspective or start guessing anything. And I'm gonna go and tell it to I want to transition from a black and white to an color image here. And let's see and again, you start with only one output just to make sure it's giving you the right result, and then from there we go. And here's what I got for the 5-second clip here. Let's see if I can play it. Nice. So you see that starts becoming, and again, you can keep extending it, and you can give it perspectives of things like that, but it's kind of to show you guys the potential. And these are the 10-second videos here. You see, this looks even a lot better to transition into this. And here's the other one. So now you have 2 outputs, so you can always see whether or not which one is actually doing something interesting or not, and then from there you can go and edit it, you can extend it, and you can see what's the potential between now you having presentations or marketing or whatever, that you actually have these color floor plans, you have animated sketch renderings or anything like that. But you can start thinking about ways where animation starts becoming a part where you are offering more value to your clients. Okay, so for this next exercise, we're gonna go ahead and let's see if you have pictures, right? Everybody has photographs or projects that are already existing. So for this case, I kind of took 2 projects here, one project that has 2 different images here, and this one here is the Dalian Educational and Cultural Center, I believe in China. But here's where we can also think about what are the projects that you already have that could be used for animations here. If you want to, maybe enhance your website, or you just want to give these to a client as a reference of what you can do, here is the way to do it with, let's say, 2 photographs that you already have out of a project here. So just like the first thing as before, the main thing is to just incorporate this into the beginning, the start frame and the end frame, and then give it a transition. So I'm going to start doing that right now. So the most important things here, before I start writing this prompt here, is to make sure that you get the camera movement right, just so the AI understands what part of the building is this. So as long as you give the camera movement right, and then you give it a description, then you're already in the right track. Okay, and here's the end result. So you see how it keeps it very close, right? If you think about it, how does these look on these two images here? It keeps it very close, and there you go. Now you have an animation of existing building that you already had.
Okay, so for this last case study, we're gonna go through renderings and how can I animate renderings without having to spend the time actually rendering the animation. So once you have to, whenever you are rendering something, you just have to think about the transition. So, and it's always great that you have the start frame and the end frame. So in this case, for instance, I want to have like more, like I want to have like a 45-second video, but I need to start thinking of frames of 10 seconds. So in 10 seconds or 5 seconds, I can think about, okay, I want these to be a 10-second transition, and I can see the camera going from this side, panning all the way here to the right and getting this aerial view. And that's kind of what we're gonna do without having to render stuff just from these two still images. So the first step, as mentioned in the other one, is gonna start with the start frame and the end frame here. Okay, once I place them, the only thing I really need to think about first is the movement of the camera. So I'll go here and say, okay, the camera is rotating. So it's right, so it's left in left. It's the camera pans left. And then I'm gonna say aerial view as towards an aerial view of the building. So in this case, I'm not giving it that much context on the description because I'm already giving it an in-frame and I'm not looking at for it to transform anything. I'm just looking at to kind of move the camera of that same building. And that's what, then depending on how it works, I can start building up the prompt from there. And then we click generate and this is what we got. Okay, so you see how now it's transitioning on all that. So now once it has transitioned that, you can then download the clip and then put this end frame, you put it at the beginning of the frame and then put another end frame there and keep doing the same thing until you have maybe 10 clips. And then you just clip them on a video editor and you're good to go. Okay, here are quick mistakes to avoid. 1, don't over animate. Know that subtle camera moves look professional, crazy spins look amateur. 2, match your firm's aesthetic to stay on brand. 3, start with high quality renderings or photos because AI can fix poor composition. 4, always generate multiple versions since your third attempt might be perfect. The firms winning right now aren't just designing better, they are communicating better and you just learn how. If you want deep dives on further of these exercises, make sure to check out some of the future videos I have coming up and also make sure to check one of these 2 videos that we talk about Kling AI. So also make sure to subscribe and like the video so you get more notifications when I drop new videos. Animations aren't for big studios anymore. Now anyone can do it, so go and do your own project. I want to see it. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.